Welcome back to a Good Enough Parent podcast. I'm Michele Johnson, certified parent coach, and today we are diving into a topic that's close to many of our hearts: finding the right parenting style for our family. In our last episode, we explored the maze of parenting labels, from gentle and authoritative to free range and beyond. But what happens when you find yourself feeling overwhelmed by all these options? I'm thrilled to introduce Dr. Shannon R. Waite, who's been on a fascinating journey of parenting transformation. She's taken a deep dive into exploring the different parenting styles and found a path that truly fits her family's unique needs. Please join me as I welcome Dr. Shannon Waite. She is here to share her personal story, the ups and the downs of parenting and the evolution she's been through, and the valuable insights she's gained along the way. I'm excited for you to hear how she has experienced what might inspire you and help your own parenting journey. So let's dive into her story, and we're going to see what we hear together. Hi, Dr. Wade.
Hi, Michele.
Can you introduce yourself to our wonderful people?
Hey, y'all. I'm Shannon Waite. I am an assistant professor at Howard University in the Graduate School of Education, the School of Education. I am also a parent of two beautiful young ladies. I have a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old. Her birthday was last Sunday. And I guess I can't say I'm new to the DMV now because I'm sliding into my third year, but I'm a fairly recent transplant.
All right. So what sparked the idea for you to rethink and change your parenting style?
I am divorced, and as I just mentioned, I relocated states. So I now, thanks to you, happily co-parent with my ex-husband, who splits his time between New York and Florida. And so being down here shifted our co-parenting relationship because when in New York, I lived in Harlem, he lived in Queens. So it was every other weekend, right? That every other weekend transitioned to once a month. And with that once a month came its own challenges because the girls are used to spending more time with their father. When they left New York, they left their friends, they left their school, they left, close family members on his side of the family. So it was a lot. And I think we've discussed this before. I'm not set in ways, right? If there's anything that I realize is that the one thing that is consistent in life is change. Mm-hmm. And so if I'm going to be 10 toes down and dig my heels into anything, it's going to be being adaptable so that I can grow and not be left behind. And the feeling like I needed to do something other than, have a commitment to myself that I wasn't going to put my hands on my kids because they tried me. I knew I needed some help. So that's what sparked it.
Yeah. So change is inevitable. Mm-hmm. And I hear you say you're pretty adaptable.
I try to be.
You try to be. And that your girls had to experience a change. Yeah. And it created a whole lot of emotions for everybody.
It did.
And as a result, you reached out to seek some help to figure out that I'm not going to put my hands on my kids. This is traditional the way things happen. But what does this look like? What do I want my unique parenting style to look like? So when you think about it, before we started talking about what this change could look like, the awareness that came from it, what were you doing before?
Well, when we were married, my ex-husband and I made a decision that we were not going to do some of the same things that were done to us. I'm the oldest. I'm my mother's oldest child, my father's middle child. But my ex-husband is his mother's only child, his father's only biological son. And so with, the different cultures, West Indian, Black American, there came a number of things. And so his childhood experience, while he shared a lot of happy memories, some of it wasn't so great around, corporal punishment. And so he, expressed openly, the feelings that he shared. I had my own personal perspective around growing up in a single parent house. My mother did her best with my brother and I. And we just felt like, I don't know what made us feel this way, but I do know what made us feel this way. We saw a model. We saw a model. He has an older cousin who was in he has an older cousin and who has a family, and they didn't hit their kids. They might have got a quick yoke every now and then, but they didn't hit their kids. And so we had the benefit of watching that before we started our own family, and we saw what that looked like, and we're like, we think we want to do that. So while I didn't hit my kids, I will say this directly to you, parent colleagues, not hitting your children or not hitting them that often or a quick yoke. All of that is traditional parenting. And even if you don't do that, trust me, you are likely still parenting in a traditional way. Because if you're in the house yelling at them like me, if you are embarrassing them like I had happen to me, and the feelings that evoked, if you are isolating yourself from them and not having connection, all of that is still tethered to traditional parenting. And I don't know that I entered this journey with any like traditional, gentle, blah, blah, blah. I really just wanted to be able to have I just really wanted to be able to have more tools to be able to parent more effectively. Because, I'm an academic, right? And so when I think about, my field, which is educational leadership, we evaluate people all the time. We mandate that people have 360s all the time. We recommend professional development for people all the time. The only place we don't do that is with parenting. We act like all of this stuff comes naturally when we know for a fact it does not. So I think that's kind of what guided me.
So there's no book for after they're born. Well, I'm going to say this. There used to be no book for after they're born. There are a ton of books out right now. Like a ton of books out. And all the different parenting styles. And if you haven't watched the first episode, go back. You're going to hear some ones that I didn't even know existed until I was researching for the episode. Because I just can't do labels. But what I heard you say was, I knew I wanted to do something different. I wasn't sure what it was going to look like. And even though I thought I was doing something different, there were still elements of traditional parenting and things that I knew weren't working for me and the girls.
And, in the spirit of not doing labels, I don't want it to come across that traditional parenting is now bad.
Right.
What I want to say is I recognize that for me, how I was parenting my children was almost in direct opposition to yielding the result that I wanted, right? So if I wanted, my then, 11-year-old to come snuggle up to me, yelling at her from the first time she gets up in the morning about how quickly she needs to get dressed, that really wasn't going to inspire that, right? If I wanted my former, 8, 9-year-old to, finally follow the routine without me having to remind her for the 11th time that we get out of bed, brush our teeth, wash our face, go to the bed, right? Mocking her, right? Hitting her with sarcasm about her either inability or unwillingness to conform to the routines that I've established wasn't going to be like, yeah, let me now fall in line with mommy because I get sarcasm at the age of 9, right? So I just realized that I needed some help. And so when I saw that email that said, hey, we got a parenting coach, I was like, oh, okay, I want to be a part of that.
Wow, that's a lot of stuff, y'all. I want y'all to catch some of the stuff that you might have missed under the surface, right? So Again, no labels, no judgment about whichever style you're actually in, but it's an awareness of some of the things you may not realize you're doing that, and this is what she said, that don't get you the results you want.
Right.
So whatever label you put on it, it's not the label, it's the behaviors.
Yeah.
It's what you're doing. It's how you're interacting with your child. It's, y'all know what I'm about to say, right? It's how you're connecting. It's how does your child feel like you see, hear, and understand them. Thank you, Brene Brown. So that wasn't happening. It wasn't working. And knowing that is a different level of awareness for parents. Because a lot of times, and this is the reason we say good enough parent, right? A lot of times we think it's the kids. Like you said it without saying it. You was like, I don't know why she just didn't fall in place. Like, I set up the routine. I don't understand why it just go with the flow, right? So we're so busy trying to fix our kids that it takes a different level of awareness. Now, I tell my parents this all the time. I'm not here to fix you, and I'm not here to fix your kids, because none of us are broken. This is not about fixing anybody, right? This is about the level of awareness of what I want, what's actually happening, and how to get from A to B and stay connected. Because really, that's what we want. We think we want perfect kids, perfect lives. No, we want to raise kids who are connected to themselves, to us, to God, are able to connect to other people. And then they exhibit our core values, whatever those core values are, right? As they get older. And the awareness of this is not how I'm going to get there is the level that I think is so valuable in what you had to say.
Can I just interject? And
Yes,
this is
ma'am,
the part where we're going to go
please.
off script. So I do hope they're ready with the sign. Because I'm getting emotional as it comes up. So I'm just going to flow because I feel like that's what the Spirit is saying. I think one of the things, and I've said this to you privately, and so it's my pleasure to say it publicly. One of the things that has been so powerful about this journey is that it has come through the church, specifically the Black church. And so y'all about to get a little bit of the critical scholar in me. There are a lot of white supremacist hegemonic ideologies that are tethered into religion, period, right? And then when you examine historically through the lens, when you examine the evolution of the Black church in that context, which I'm happy I go to Alfred Street, because Pastor Wesley just did that in this summer series,
Yes,
right?
he did.
I think that folks don't recognize how much of a chokehold white supremacy and the patriarchy have in the Black church. And I'm not saying it's exclusive to the Black church, but I am speaking about the Black church because my positionality as a Black woman who's grown up in church her whole life, between AME and Baptist-Costal, right? Is in the Black church. And the thing that I just appreciate the most about this experience here at Alfred Street is the vision of both Reverend Dr. Morgan and Pastor Wesley, because I don't think folks recognize that the good enough part, yes, we get to the good enough parenting, but really in order for you to get to the good enough parenting, you got to get to accept that you're good enough.
There you go.
And it's an exploration of self, and it's the exploration of self that allows you to interrogate and examine why you do the things that you do. And oftentimes it's because that's what you know. And, as the saying goes, when you know better, you do better. And I would just encourage people who are like, I don't need that. I got beat and this gentle parenting this. That's why kids are out here doing this and doing that and robbing folks and shooting up folks. No, the reason why kids today are out here robbing folks and shooting up folks is because the quality of life issues that are not being addressed in their communities, and there's nothing for them to do, right? But that's a whole nother day and a whole nother talk. Why I think this talk, this podcast, and the work that this ministry is doing is so imperative is it really can revolutionize the way in which parents can see themselves, right? One of the key pivotal moments was when you gave me homework and you told me, I want you to see your children as autonomous beings, not the children you get to tell what to do, autonomous beings. And for that, whatever period it was, Michelle, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, when I really got to see them for who they were, that honestly revolutionized my perspective around being a parent. And I had to get in the mirror because I recognized that I didn't even know my own kids. Here I am thinking, I'm picking out this dress and that dress. Sis don't like dresses. She will wear a form-fitting dress, right? But when I'm trying to get her into this frilly stuff, that's not the life she's about anymore. She is not the same kid. And I wasn't able to see that until you told me about is it 4 or 5 C's?
The A's.
A's. Mm-hmm. Was it 4 or 5?
It's 5.
5. The 5 A's, which I hope you share.
I will.
But that all lead to the desired result, which is connection. And so I just really feel like we can talk about the parenting style piece and share the tools, which are all great. But I really want folks to understand that if you're serious about doing the work, you got to do the work, right? Mm-hmm. It's not just about your kid. It's about looking at you.
So you will hear me say this. Now, let me tell you, she used some big words. I'm not messing with her big words today.
I didn't use big words.
She did. She used some big words.
I didn't.
Y'all, she went all the academic side of her. Normally, we swap big words together because we both are academics. We both educators. But I'm going to break down what the big parts I want you to catch from all those big words. Is a lot of what we do is based in a whole lot of stuff. Mm. It's based in tradition. It's based in what we grew up with. It's based in the society we've been around. It's based in what people told us was right and wrong and what they said about what the Bible said and what the Bible didn't say, right? But the reality is when I say I'm not here to fix you or fix your kids, the reality is what I said, and you'll hear me say a lot, our brain mirrors our environment. Mm-hmm. So what we do is because we've seen it done. We've had an experience with it. If it's not getting us the result we want, here's the beauty of how God designed us. Listen, y'all, you can rewire your brain. Right. Shift your environment, right? And that's what I heard Shannon say she did. I shifted the environment. And as a result, I did challenge her because no, I can't fix you. And I keep saying it's an awareness, but it is an awareness of self. And that's what I heard her say. It's an awareness of self, right? And in order to take that awareness of self and in order to be connected, and again, we think we want all this other stuff from our kids. Mm-hmm. But the reality is we were designed to connect. Mm-hmm. And what we really want is when they 25, 35, 45, right. They still want to be around us. They 14. Still want to connect. Right. We go. Okay. So she said, or teens. Stay tuned. There's a teen episode coming up down the road because some of y'all be like, girl, if you don't talk about these teenagers and these tweens, I got y'all. It's coming. But how do we keep this connection? How do we develop it? And some of the reasons we can't is because of some of the things that we grew up with or some of the things we've been told, right? And so, yes. So because Shannon's brought up the challenge, I'm going to issue it to you too. So here's the challenge. A lot of times we just see our children as our children, as if they belong to us. For the record, God loaned them to y'all. They gonna take them away, not take them away, but they gonna grow up and go away, right? So our job is to shepherd them and guide them until it's time for them to go away, right? And so we have to see them as human beings and not kids. And that's hard. And in order to do that, you got to sit back. And I did. I gave her about a couple weeks and then she came back and had to do a couple more weeks. So you don't have to do a whole month. But I will say do at least 2 weeks in which you just sit and observe your child. Now, not as a child.
Right.
I want you to sit and look at them with a different lens. See them as a human being. Start looking for what's different about them that you never noticed because you didn't take the time to just sit and watch. Mm-hmm. It's going to be hard because the mom side of your brain is going to see all the stuff you wish they weren't doing at the moment. I had a friend who did this and she went and watched her son while he was playing games. I don't know why she chose that moment, but it drove her crazy because he was a teenage boy making a lot of noise, using some language she didn't like, and just being something different. She came back to me. She was like, girl, I can't do this experiment. I said, yep, go back in that room and now take your mom hat off. She came back 2 days later. She was like, oh my gosh, video games, he's the most creative child I've ever seen. Like, he was problem solving. He was leading people online. He was funny. I was like, oh, was he? So that's the challenge, right? So yeah, she's right. We can talk parenting styles. We can talk strategies. Y'all stay tuned. Y'all gonna get tons of strategies. But I really think the conversation of what Shannon just shared with you is the most valuable nugget you're gonna get. So we're not going any further. I'm issuing a challenge. I want you to think about what aspects of what you do and how you do it don't reflect what you really want. And then say, but I don't have to be perfect. I can learn more. How you going to do that, Michele? You're going to stay tuned to the Good Enough Parent Podcast. That's how you're going to do that. I'm going to share some strategies. I'm also going to give you some awareness that will make you go and say, do I do that? Do I really treat my children as human beings so that they want to be connected to me? That's what I mean, right? So you don't need a label. This is Shannon's direction for her unique parenting style. This is her story. She's sharing her journey with you. Her journey not over. By the way, none of our journeys are over. Mm-hmm. I'm still on this same journey. They 24 and 27, and we still journeying together. However, you get to craft this for yourself. And the only way you get to do that is to look at self. So we're going to end this episode right here. I got questions. But we don't need them. We don't need them. We need you to stay tuned for anybody looking for all the stuff you really think you need, which is a bunch of strategies and the how-tos. But you can get a little bit of that. You can get some head, which is the information that we share on the podcast beforehand. You can get the heart, where you get to hear the heart of the parents as you continue to listen to the episodes. And yeah, I'll give you some hands. I'll give you some tools. Shannon got some strategies. I'll give you some tools. But that's really where I want you to land around parenting styles. That there is no style. There is no label. You got to figure this out, and you got to do it by looking at the kids you have in front of you, looking at yourself, and figuring out what works to keep you all connected. So stay tuned. We will see you next week on the next episode of Good Enough Parent Podcast. Thank you, Shannon.
Thank you for having me.